Michel Gondry music videos, probably some of the best music videos ever created.
It has so much rewatchability.
You can't plan this video with storyboards, for example. You need like a map.
At some point, if you want to consider yourself as somebody who creates things, you have to just say, okay, what you're putting out is different because you put yourself into it.
This is like Michel Gondry being like, I am the fucking greatest executing filmmaker in the world.
This specific one is Chiba-Mato Sugar Water, directed by Michel Gondry.
Here we go.
The velocity of time.
And by the way, this is all one shot.
Sugar water.
Now, we don't know this yet as a viewer, right? It's like all we know is the left and right are synchronized, but we don't know much else about it. That's such a cool effect. It's like two different types of showering. It's interesting to note, like, when we're talking about, like, why does this work? We're 30 seconds in. There's, like, 2 or 3 pieces of information we know. There's a scene on the left. There's a scene on the right. So it's like split screen. Those 2 scenes are synchronized. Getting out of bed, going to the window, the potted plant falling down and coming up, writing something, the shower with sugar, the shower with water. So we know it's synchronized. Then we saw the sugar, so we know one of them is in reverse.
Yes.
Right? That's the third piece of information that we learn at about maybe 20 seconds in.
And that's a great point.
That's Mark Celestino. He worked at Buzzfeed before he moved over to Watcher as an in-house director.
We're not trying to say too much at the beginning and just letting the audience kind of fill in the gaps.
There's so many different ways to make something worth watching. And one of those ways is like a really emotionally resonant story where there's like a thing that you want to say and you said it and it feels good. Another way is to ask a really interesting question, right? The film can just be an interesting question. I think a great example of this was the Netflix docuseries Wild Wild Country.
Our vision was to create a community
based on compassion and sharing.
They ask a question about like, is this cult in the wrong, or is it actually deeply connecting spiritually with people? And that question is the question that keeps you engaged and what makes the series worth watching. And then sometimes what makes something worth watching is just like conveying an emotion to people that is complex and interesting and making the viewer feel what you felt as the experiencer of that emotion. And I think this is a great example of like, this isn't comedy. This isn't like production value. This is like mystery and this question you get to fill in the gaps as a viewer. Why is this meaningful to you? You know, let's keep going. So yeah, clearly now we know this clip is in reverse. This one is forward.
So they will show a lot of matching actions. And this girl on the left with the water and the hair dryer is sort of this the real life scenario.
Yep.
And then sugar lady with this fancy fun fan. It feels more like this is the dream world of like the sugary mindset.
I think that's right on. So the fourth piece of information we learn now is at 50 seconds in, and we're starting to realize, oh, it's not just these actions are synchronized. This is like real world. This is banal reality, and this is dream world. This is alternate dimension, interesting effects, and like a fan with feathers on it or whatever, the streamers on it instead of a hair dryer. And he's like sequentially giving us more and more little interesting pieces of information to kind of glom onto as a viewer to keep us excited, you know, in that first minute.
Let's keep watching.
It's blowing to the northwest. It smells like a sense of the southern island.
It's incredible how choreographed it is, too.
That's Jackie Wegworth, the production manager for Daniel Thrasher.
The fact that they're able to match it so perfectly, timing it to the music, knowing exactly when each person is going to turn, when they're putting the shirt on.
And that's part of when I premise the whole how complicated the production is, because sure, it may look simple, but you have to think about all those little details that go into it.
And still, no cuts so far in the video.
Yeah.
So, they had to execute this all and get one take for each of these shots so far.
This is also one of the reasons why I love one takes, just because it's almost like theater. And another detail for the camera, the cameraman or gal is walking backwards the whole time, which is so tough because I've done that a full show where I'm just walking backwards. It's tough.
You see a lot of oneers are used for like fight scenes.
This is Chance Nichols. He's a writer for some of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, and he also makes some of his own videos.
You're too distracted at work.
Like the Netflix series Daredevil did one that's really famous, or like the Kingsman with the church like massacre thing. Like that choreography is difficult in and of itself, obviously, but that's fight choreography is really dance choreography in a lot of ways. Like stunt people will tell you that we're dancing together. You're a good dance partner. We just move with me. There's a science to that, but with like stuff like this, it's like. Well, I don't know, having to choreograph a morning routine is something that's like less physically, aggressive or crazy, but it really takes a lot of mental focus to be like, all right, and I grab the shirt off the hanger and I put the sugar here. Like there's so many weird little things.
And actually where my brain goes is like, there's probably 4 or 5 people behind the camera, including somebody with a clipboard that's like, sugar in 4, 3.
So he made this tape with a music, with his direction. Wake up now, open the window now, go to the shower now, take the shower, da 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 da. We had to listen to it and learn to do it at the exact timing.
All right, let's keep watching.
And there was a cat.
Wow.
So, okay. With the cat, so that's such a good call out because we get to see the cat go right here. There's the cat, and then down, and then cat.
Just perfectly timed, which is so funny because the cats that Daniel Thrasher has will make appearances in our sketches just because they're impossible to wrangle. We try to have a cat wrangler on set, but they'll just be in the shot just because they're cats being cats. So I can't even imagine trying to
get
time it for them to come in this whole...
Timing it on a oneer.
Yeah.
On a oneer.
So for me now, at this point, we're 1 minute and 11 seconds in. He's built a path and he's just throwing boulders in his own way. He's just making this video harder and harder and harder, and then he's executing it. And in that sense, this is like Michel Gondry just being like,
Yeah.
Right? He's just like, I am the fucking greatest executing filmmaker in the world.
Yeah.
And then for me as a viewer, I'm like, I want to see what other boulders he puts in his own way. Like, how is he going to fuck himself up and still succeed in the rest of this video?
Yeah.
Which is like interesting stakes as a viewer to see.
And like you said, it's a oneer, but there's 2 of them.
Yeah, a tour.
And a reverse.
Right. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
2 oneers. One of them's backwards.
Oh my God. Yeah. So the cat.
In case you forget.
Oh my God.
It's backwards.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how you coordinate that. Yeah.
It has so much rewatchability just because it's like you're picking up something new every time because he's hiding like these little Easter eggs in it.
Yeah, the AVD is probably crazy here.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw this video was I was probably, I don't know, maybe like 15 years old. I got the Michel Gondry DVD director's label set from Borders Books and Music. Wow. And it included an interview with him where he shows how he like thought about this video and made it. And one of the things he says in the interview is he maps out his music videos 3 seconds at a time. The reason he does that is he's like, I want people to always have something to be interested in every 3 seconds of the video. Yeah. And you can tell that he just packs his videos full of detail. Instead of using cuts to do that, he's using production to do that.
Yeah, the visual elements, like having, that sort of rapid fire visual stimulation and stuff, it's similar to like in the more traditional storytelling world. It reminds me of like 30 Rock. You guys remember the show 30 Rock?
Carol, they're towing your car.
Damn it! My kids are in there. No, how? I came all the way up to Westchester just to avoid you.
This is Westchester? I am lost.
You watch an episode of that and you've just watched like 2,000 jokes, like at one right after the other. And that's why it won a shelf of Emmys.
What's crazy is you saying that he plans it out 3 seconds at a time. You think with like a music video, you would be working with the beats of the music, and you watch this and like the actions aren't timed to, you know, the tempo of it, which is so interesting.
Bonkers. It's bonkers. Let's keep going here.
Cat crosses my bed.
Also, just cameramen walking on stairs. Tough.
Okay, she puts a letter in the red box, and then she's like, takes a letter out of the red box.
Amazing. It's interesting too in this shot that this is also in reverse. It's like, I know she's like walking backwards and the footage is reversed, but to even have the letters on the sign reflected is
Great
interesting.
observation. Yeah. So the whole thing is also flipped. Not only is it in reverse, it's flipped.
Wow.
And now's when we learn that, because we see these letters. So that's another boulder, right? Like this video so far is just like him just being like, check out this boulder and look at this boulder. And I made it harder for myself. And here's what's even harder, right?
And I like to think that music videos are the perfect place to like do all these crazy experiments and like visual things, because like, and still be able to tell a story, a narrative, because sometimes I do feel like some music video just throw way too much, but then you kind of lose the narrative of it. I just remembered something when you were mentioning how Michel Gondry plans his projects, music videos. I remember just seeing him when he's explaining something, he's always just drawing like his plan. It's just hand drawn. Like, I remember the music video with a train that was like, that had the beat. Essentially, he was drawing like the beats by hand.
Right.
And that's the whole plan, was this handwritten thing that he did.
I think that's a great point. You can't plan this video with storyboards, for example. You need like a map. You need like spreadsheets and like documents, and you need to like draw it out, you know? And he doesn't care. Like storyboard, he's like, why should I just use a storyboard? Like, I'll create an entire universe just to plan this freaking thing, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
By the way, that window breaking, it's barely there, and then you have that, and I know that this is more than one take. So you know that they had to break that window multiple times.
Yes.
Coordinating all of those?
Yep.
Wild.
And I mean, look how far you are in the video. If you miss that shot and the window doesn't break, that's 1minute 40 seconds of the sequence that you now have to redo.
Miho's pouring sugar in her head. She has to wash it out every time. And so each shot takes like 2 hours maybe to recover.
Another flex.
Yeah, more boulders. Still blue and red. Car accident. Okay. And then we're like, wait a minute. That's her.
And this is wild.
Wow.
Oh
You
my
killed
God.
me.
And then we were so busy that
And then now she's on this side,
Yes.
and it's normal.
And it's not reversed.
And it's not reversed, now she's reversed.
What the hell?
Like,
That's wild.
And I'll just call out, if you listen to the music at that moment, like
That's really good.
it sounds like it sounds like my mind is melting and being blown. Like that's what it's just like this creepy, eerie, like the universe is opening up, and that's exactly what that moment in the music video is. It's like the climax of the song sonically and emotionally coincides with the mind blow moment where he flips the two scenes and the actors. It's incredible.
I'm riding on a
and now she's singing normal.
And now it's
Big
right
fish.
side, yeah.
Yep, there you have it.
eyes.
You don't even know how he got here now. You're like, how did they flip?
I've seen this so many times, I still don't understand.
Coconut trees, little by little.
Cameraman walking backwards on the stairs.
Now we're going back inside to the original.
When a black cat
When Black Cat.
crosses my path.
Bad luck.
A woman in the
Okay.
moon.
Now we start to realize, wait a minute, we've already seen this. But we saw this,
On the other side was flipped.
and it was forward instead of backward. And this one was backward instead of forward.
Yeah.
So the whole video at this point has already been shot, and they're just showing it to us again.
So I remember Michel Gondry talking about how it's a palindrome.
Yes.
Like the word radar, you can write it the other way around. It's spelled the same. I have Miho going to bed. Then there is a flower pot, and then there is a flower pot. Then there is the cat, and when they meet, it's a car accident.
Or it's like you could go back and forth essentially.
Yes.
And now I just see it more and more. Yeah, let's keep going.
There's the sugar, but now it forward instead of backward. And you realize, this is when you realize, like, oh yeah, I'm seeing the same thing in reverse now.
It's also interesting, like what we were talking about earlier, how it's like, oh, this seems more like the fun dimension, and this seems more like. Now it's like you realize, oh, it's the same. Like it's not some sort of like cross-dimensional thing. What you're seeing is the seemingly person who has it put together, or like the more traditional person, is the one who messes up and causes the accident and hurts the more free spirit. Because when we think of, the woman who's now on the right, you think like, driving to work, like put showers in a regular shower, not sugar. Like a more practical person. They're the one who their life is governed by, strategic movement and a schedule and doing the right thing and showing up on time and this and that and the other. And the other person's like, I just sort of twirl around in my apartment. And it's like, you would think that's the type of person who would have a massive fuck up in their life because they're so carefree. But it turns out the person who has their, their grip on the wheel so tightly, maybe more so than the other person at least, they're the one who ultimately had the big screw up.
That's a great observation. Never really thought about it that way. And this is what I mean, where I feel like we could find different meanings or narratives within music and or a good music video.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off.
We are taking sugar, water, shower.
And then you see sugar water makes sense, which it didn't make sense
Also,
when they wrote it the first time.
Yeah.
The pot falling, that's another just like production thing you got to think about. Like you're breaking this thing over and over again.
So the other interesting thing about that is like, okay, so now the video's done, it ends in this beautiful symmetry, but like there are things what you realize, I think, at this point when sugar water lines up, you realize, oh, and it's right when she says sugar water as a lyric. And that same phenomenon happened with Black Cat about 30 seconds ago. When a black cat crosses my path. And so you realize like, oh, in the first half of this video, there were a lot of things like this where you see them doing things that don't make sense until they show the video in reverse in the second half. And it kind of makes, it's a typical device in storytelling, reincorporation, where you see something you saw before, but now it makes sense. And that just makes it feel like the whole thing is coming together in like this really beautiful way.
Yeah.
Despite all these boulders that he's kind of thrown in his way.
I also just noticed or was thinking about the car accident. The death scene was like literally in the middle. That like it sort of revolves around death, that there's two sort of different people who are doing something similar but still different people. The one connection they have is that accident that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's like it doesn't stop there. It's like we think of death as the end, and that's just the middle, and things continue just as they were before.
That's a good point.
It's also something a teacher told me a long time ago about like storytelling and like, when you're doing a scene or doing a bunch of scenes, whatever, you want to be seeing a character on like a very big day. Like, this is a day that I will remember. This isn't just a mundane Tuesday where everything went exactly to plan. The most interesting stuff is on days where your entire life has just changed. And that's what we're seeing here from two different perspectives. We're seeing the day that this person died and the day that this person killed somebody.
Yes.
So that's like a double, again, the double whammy, double oneer, whatever this whole thing is like you're getting two for the price of one. And it's really fascinating to see.
Great point. I love all you guys' observation on this because I've seen this many times. I'm just haven't thought about all these. So this is great.
Thank you guys so much for coming in and doing this. It's been so awesome to talk with you and yeah, pick this to pieces. Thank you.